Okay, we are live, and I have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr.Morj here with me to talk about One Piece chapter 1037. How are you, Morj?
I'm doing okay. I like the last chapter, so we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, very interesting, action-packed, lore-heavy. Oda kind of going crazy with this one. I'm really excited to talk about it. It's a lot of theories and shit floating around, so I'm really excited to hear how you feel about it. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. So far, woke up. It's Sunday. I got some donuts because I like to do that on Sundays.
Okay.
And yeah, that's worked on a video that actually, funnily enough, coming off of this chapter. So this chapter, 1037, as you said, a lot of theories coming out of this. I'm trying to get the jump on one of them. So let's see. This is gonna come out.
All right, y'all.
I can talk about it here a little bit, I guess, because it's not a new theory. It's not. I'm not trying to claim this is my theory, but I do think I have some interesting things to add to it. Which is,
Does this have to do with the Zunisha stuff?
Yes, Zunisha stuff.
Okay.
You want to talk about Kaido or Zunisha?
I guess we can talk about Zunisha once we get there.
All right, I'll leave it for the moment. We'll go about it.
But I didn't even, bro, the entire time I've talked about this chapter, I didn't talk about the cover story one time.
Oh, dude, I forgot about
I didn't talk about it one time. Germa. I mean, it's not a lot to say. They're just sitting there, right? And judge size. I don't know. What do you think about it? It's just like...
Yeah, all I know is that it cannot be as bad as the last cover story. It's actually impossible, right?
No, it's not.
Unless Pedro, but I don't even like discussing that.
Exactly.
Not an option. It just can't happen.
You know, all of a sudden Pedro is floating in the water. You know, I hope not, but there's not much to discuss. Reiju, Judge, Ichiji, they're just there. Hopefully, you know, we get some more from it soon. Now, we head to the chapter and we get a shot of the flower capital again.
Yep.
Thankfully, it was not another shot of Onigashima coming down and saying, hey, look, this is something that's impending. They're showing us some of the dialogue and what people are thinking. Like the festival is coming to an end. And we see a float of Toki. Did you see that?
Yeah, okay, I'll admit I noticed it when Arthur, shouts the Library of Ohara, posted on Twitter this morning. So then I noticed it.
Yeah. So I saw that, and I'm like, because of how the chapter ended, I'm like, is Oda trying to play with us with that? But that was a small part of the chapter. We then get to the Kaido and Luffy stuff, which they're going at it, right? And Kaido is drinking, and he has a drunken mode, one could say. And Luffy's here asking him, like, why are you drinking right now? And Kaido's basically saying, well, it's the festival and I'm having fun, so now is the time to drink. When I first heard that, I thought about, okay, I hope this isn't a built-in excuse, like, okay, Luffy only won because Kaido was drunk. Yeah. But then they addressed it and Kaido's like, no, I'm not weaker when I'm drunk. Which, you know, it's weird because the fan base sometimes dismisses things that characters say, because I remember when the flashback happened with Roger, when they basically said that Roger was not sick, or he wasn't like affected by his health at the time when he fought Whitebeard, but people still use that, saying, hey, Roger was sick fighting Whitebeard and he still held his own. How do you feel about that?
Dude, I mean, I don't buy that I think Oda, this is the thing, I try to just go by, does Oda make it clear that a character is affected? Like, does he go out of his way to say, like, because like you don't usually have to stretch that much, right? Like Whitebeard at Marineford, Oda put in like as many panels as possible to make sure we understood. Whitebeard is not in his prime right now. Unless you don't understand, he is not in his prime right now. So they tries to make it really clear, right? Same with like, I don't know, like if it doesn't like he does it every time pretty much. Like if even one of the Straws is injured or whatever.
Right. He makes
Zoro,
it clear.
You're doing this with your injuries, shit like that, you know.
Okay. You know, it's funny. Quick tangent. Yeah. We talked about Odin and Rayleigh recently. This is off air, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
I talked to King of Lightning recently.
Oh no, I don't.
And he agrees with you.
Oh, he agrees with me. All right.
Well, he feels like Odin was stronger than Rayleigh.
I don't know about stronger. It's
he said stronger than Rayleigh and Scopper when they met, like initially. But he said he was definitely stronger than both of them once he went back to Wano.
No, so we have different... Okay, so I know King's beliefs in general, which is like, he puts the Yonko on this sort of like, extremely high pedestal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is maybe fair, maybe not. I'm not going to get into that. Maybe fair, maybe not, to be honest.
Right.
Right? But I think he's like, if Odin did this to Kaido, even if Kaido is not yet, the Kaido we know today, if Odin did this to Kaido, therefore stronger than what really could do, or something along those lines. I know also he's not exactly a Zoro fan per se, and I feel like people's opinions on Rayleigh and Mihawk are heavily swayed by how you feel about Zoro. You know what I mean? Not for everybody, because I know you're not like a big Zoro guy, but you are a big Rayleigh guy. Like,
well, okay.
What?
What are you trying to do to me here?
You're not a big Rayleigh guy? You are a Rayleigh fan.
I'm a big Zoro guy. Okay.
I'm sorry. Listen, Brago viewers. Brago loves Zoro. He loves Sanji. He loves Luffy. There's no one that he loves them all.
Okay, I like Sanji and Zoro more than like Luffy, to be honest. I do. I think Zoro. I don't know. Luffy. It's easy to root for Luffy. Easy to root for Zoro as well. Sanji's probably a bit more difficult, but the more complex character. It's hard to root for Sanji, but I like it. I like some struggle, some conflict. It's always good for Zoro, mostly always good for Luffy. But as a character, I think I just resonate with Sanji a bit more. Not the perverted shit, right? That's just out there. But I'm a Zoro guy. I think I was a huge Odin guy until it just felt like he just kept coming up short. But I do agree that I was selling him a bit short. He's a larger than life character. And it's no doubt if he did live, he would have ascended to the levels of, I think, the Kaidos and Shanks, that tier, if he wasn't already, because of how he lost. We feel like he was gonna win, So anyway, back to Kaido versus Luffy.
I don't want to rehash that necessarily. I think it's just too... Yeah.
Kaido's saying that he is accepting Luffy, and in the official it says he's wondering how long it's been since he fought someone who could truly go toe to toe with him. Mind you, he fought Big Mom for an entire day. Okay? I don't know, because the scans made it seem like, well, I can't remember the last time someone challenged me to a serious one-on-one, where here it's still is this Big Mom disrespect or more Luffy respect?
Let me take a look at the Viz, because I got the Viz up right now. I think, 50%. So here's the thing with Kaido and Big Mom. It's so tricky, right? Because with the Kaido and Big Mom fight, we know at this point that Oda's goal was just always even when it was starting, that's the thing, even when the fight was starting, right? And we didn't know 100% that they're going to team up by the end of it. But even when the fight was starting, we all knew in our heads that Oda's not going to show who's stronger between, he's not going to do this 100%. You know what I mean?
Way. We knew it. We knew that.
We all knew. We knew we were going to get some glimpses of it, and it's going to resolve in some, unresolved way or something.
Top tier fights don't get resolved.
Yeah, not like that, So no. I think that it depends what Kaido means here exactly, and that we know that Oda knew that he's not gonna make this a battle to the death or whatever.
Right.
So I guess it just depends. Did Kaido feel that way when the fight was beginning? I mean, he unchained Big Mom. He could have just killed her, so he unchained her. So it's a little bit different maybe in that it's this is the first time that it's a serious battle. They're trying to kill each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of like the other translation a bit better, where it's this is in a long time somebody fought a serious 1v1, because then it's it's easy. Okay, Shanks and Big Mom, obviously it was somewhat like a greeting, right? We haven't seen each other in a while. Let's see if you can still hang with me. But this is more so to Luffy's credit, because how long was Whole Cake Island? 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
at this
story
point?
time? Yeah, so 2 weeks and then 1 week, maybe almost a week to
travel
get here.
time,
So
right? So 3 weeks?
2.5 weeks, or that 2 to 3. That's where we're at.
Right? And Luffy went from a struggle with Katakuri to now he's fighting toe-to-toe with a Yonko.
Yeah.
Right? This shows just... I think in Wano, this has been Luffy's, biggest growth in the story thus far.
By
Would
far.
you agree? Right?
By
Like,
far. I mean, he got one-shotted by Kaido at the start. Right?
Yes.
One-shotted by Kaido at the start of the arc.
Right. And now he's jumped to the point that in some aspects you can say he's like, it looks like he's getting the better of Kaido, which is, insane. I gotta say the drunken Kaido thing did catch me off guard. People were saying that Kaido did use a hybrid form. I'm not sure if you noticed that. When he did his drunken dragon Bagua, the lightning hammer, and his face looked a bit different.
That's like a joke. He's the laughing face, right? Yeah, that's just him laughing.
Yeah. And then I don't know. This awakening thing, I don't want to harp on it because if it's awakening, I felt like Oda would make it a bit more explicit. Like, hey, this is Kaido using in a different form or awakening, whatever.
This is just a classic laughing face.
Yeah.
If Kaido's awakening, that's like that's like Frieza's final form. You gotta.
Right. I would think it'd have more focus than that. But Kaido hit Luffy so hard that it cracked the roof. And it is astonishing that Luffy can go from getting one shot at the beginning of the arc to now taking these devastating attacks. And he's like, yo, this hurts.
He just gets up. He's like, man, that hurt. He's so tough.
He's so tough. I'm like, did it not hurt before?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. I don't know. It's incredible. I think the thing that's interesting here with Kaido is that he's changing forms based on how like the drunken type that he is. How do you feel about like all that different stuff going on?
Dude, so with the changing form situation, right? So, because this is the first chapter, I think, that we saw him just rotate, right? Rotate between base, hybrid, and
just seamlessly, like constantly.
Yeah, I thought it made for a pretty entertaining like mix-up, I guess. The thing I like to think, so like I'm trying to justify the dragon form because it's consistently been pretty bad.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I do wonder if it's possible that in his dragon form, maybe his elemental attacks are better.
Okay.
And this is just some headcanon, but this is also just based off what we've seen a little bit. So like, if he uses a Boro Breath in his hybrid form, it's much smaller effect than when we've seen him use it in dragon form, right? Maybe more concentrated, right. I don't know. But same thing, he switches to dragon form to use, to actually create tornadoes and stuff. We have not seen him use that in hybrid form or anything.
Yeah.
So, it's unconfirmed. It's just an observation. It's possible that his dragon form is better for large scale elemental stuff, but then hybrid is, and then, base is better for pure physical, and then hybrid's like best of both worlds to a degree.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I know a lot of people had been reading into what he was saying in these different forms, where he talks about the castle and talking about it took 5 years to build, and basically him saying, well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be, and it's just like, is this in his life, I guess, the stages he went through to get to the point that he is now, where it's weird. It's weird with Kaido because we're missing a lot of context. We don't know a lot of the shit that he's been through, but we know that the person that he was back then, he's not that person anymore, right? He's like completely different, and it seems like the drinking had a bit to do with it, or rather what he went through then contributed to him drinking a bit more, and this is, what we have in front of us. I do like the fact, again, that it was explicitly stated that he's not weaker when he's drunk, so it keeps the fight interesting, and it just shows like Kaido just using a bunch of different forms. And it's weird because in one panel he says, leave me alone. It reminds me of when, wasn't he crying when Doflamingo got captured?
Doflamingo and then like the little Pirate Games chapter. It was very similar. Right.
With Kid, and then he used like one of his minions and he put the bounty poster on him and sent him away. Yeah, so it's kind of just going through all these different phases, but then in the fight we get some amazing choreography, and I don't want to say Luffy's using future sight here, but he is preparing attacks in advance a bit, but it's not explicitly stated that he's using future sight, which I would think he'd be using future sight because he has that ability, but I don't know, it's like his counterattacks were just amazing in this chapter.
Yeah, like the, I'm looking at the page right now. The Kaido swinging, Luffy jumping onto the club,
Right.
and then landing the hit. Yeah, like that's
amazing.
Yeah, some pretty sleek Luffy stuff. And like, dude, I definitely think that he just has. I don't think Oda's gonna specify every time Luffy's using Future Sight at this point, because that's just not the type of author Oda is. I think.
Right.
It's like kind of assumed, and like in small ways, you're like, okay, this was Future Sight or something like that. But like, I definitely think it's the case because he's keeping up with Kaido's speed in base form. That's got to be some Future Sight, right? Yeah. And like, same way you're saying that. Not only did Oda specify that Kaido's not weaker right now. It looks like Kaido's stronger right now, to me.
It's
right.
Well,
like,
Luffy's said it, right?
Yeah. Like his Haki got stronger.
He says Haki's getting stronger. What is that about?
So like we know further confirmation, I guess, that like the stronger your will is getting, right? Like
the Haki bloom, is that what it is?
I don't think Kaido's having a Haki bloom right now. It's just that like the more you're,
the more you're getting fired up.
Yeah, getting more fired up, more like, was he angry when he did that? Right? Was he in his angry form? Yeah. No.
It's weird because he was crying.
I don't know. Crying.
He was crying.
That switched to anger. So I don't know. Yeah. He's getting more emotional. We know that at least.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a mix of that basically.
But remember, like this. I feel like this happens to Luffy in a lot of his fights, where he gets overwhelmed with someone's Haki. Like, because Cracker had happened, Katakuri had happened. Katakuri was like there's levels to armament or whatever, and now with Kaido it's happening where it's like Luffy got overwhelmed, then eventually he makes up the difference. I don't know how we quantify it, like the reasons for it getting stronger. I agree, I don't think it's a Haki bloom. I just think it has to do with Kaido. Maybe it has to do with Kaido's form, which is weird, but it's Oda has to play this a bit safe because he can't let Kaido just continuously like gets like his Haki continues to get stronger, because then how does Luffy keep up? So you have to make it make sense a little bit. But no, I thought this exchange is going to be beautiful in the anime. That's what I was thinking the entire time. Because even the headbutt scene, I'm thinking of like how Luffy versus Ulti was in the anime. That was beautiful. So now I just can't wait to see this shit in the anime. Yeah,
they've got so much to work with from this chapter. Like
they could stretch this out a lot.
Yeah, like this was basically an entire chapter dedicated to Luffy versus Kaido, and it's not even in its final fate. Like this is just like a check-in moment. Like let's check in and see how they're
and see what's happening, because Luffy hasn't even transformed yet. Something interesting that we were having a conversation about. I'm looking at the panel now, and Luffy looks a bit wider when he uses his rock Gatling. I don't know if you see it. Like, is he partially transformed? Do you see that?
I see what you're saying. No, I'm just gonna say no. Like, I think that the moment that Luffy goes,
is that base, or is it like? Because it looks weird. He looks a lot wider than. I don't know.
He does, and okay, it looks like his legs have Haki on them too.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So I don't. It's hard to say. I like to think that when Luffy's ready to go Gear 4th or whatever, it'll be like an important
be clear.
Moment, So like same with Kaido going hybrid.
Yeah.
Not hybrid, you know what I mean.
We assume another awakening level or whatever.
Dude, otherwise if Luffy's just doing this in base and he hasn't done anything, then it would be kind of insane if Kaido doesn't have awakening. But
before we get to the meat of this chapter, well, that's crazy seeing coming off of Luffy versus Kaido, but there's some really interesting shit from this chapter. I gotta ask you, because this was a debate for a while. How do you feel about Future Sight in One Piece? Do you think it's an overrated ability? Do you think it's just largely inconsistent? Like, what do you feel about it?
I think with Future Sight, and this is, how do I say this? I think it's like a really cool idea. In theory, right? Like really, really cool idea in theory. And I like the way that Katakuri used to use it. I like the way that Katakuri used to use it a lot. I think that over time, it's blended a bit more. Now that we're more with like Luffy using it primarily, it's blended a bit more into like, okay, we just know that their observation Haki is just better now. We just know that it's improved. But there's no way of telling, like, is Kaido using Future Sight? Does Big Mom use Future Sight? will it ever matter that Zoro doesn't have future sight, or like,
Right.
you know, like that Sanji doesn't, like, that's the thing. So I like looking at Luffy. The fact that Luffy in base form right now is able to do what he's doing against Kaido, that's a product of, you know, the advanced. That's a product of him. It's not like he's gotten faster necessarily, so I'm chalking it up to future sight. And it's not like, you know, he's physically stronger, so it's a result of advanced conquerors. So I guess it's kind of just like we just accept that Luffy's base abilities are becoming much higher than they rationally were before because he's incorporating Haki so much better. So I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I think it's a weird ability because it is very powerful, but it's largely inconsistent. And especially even before Future Sight, Observation Haki was inconsistent, right? It was used, it works when it works.
Yes.
So now with Future Sight, it's just more of the same. But I think it's become an ability that, based on who you talk to, is either overrated or underrated. Right?
This is coming down to the how strong is Katakuri discussion, basically.
Kind of, sorta, because I feel like, again, it's separated the community a bit, where you have people that feel like Katakuri is hella overrated because of Future Sight. You have people that feels like Katakuri is underrated because Future Sight is not as easy to overcome as people may think because Luffy did it. Mm-hmm. You know, which, you know, Luffy did it by basically learning it.
Yeah. You had to learn Future Sight to deal with it.
You know, which is not normal. So I think it's weird. I think, honestly, I would say more people probably overrate Future Sight than underrate it, because people are saying, well, how do you defeat Future Sight? You know, which it's not an easy concept to draw or write. But I do think it's an ability that, you know, it's, I don't know what I expect from it, especially with Luffy, because let me ask you though, do you think Luffy is cerebral?
No, Luffy is not cerebral. Luffy is the least cerebral main character of all time. I mean, like, you can say like Goku and stuff like that, I don't know, but Luffy's not cerebral. However, he does have moments of like clarity or insight, but that's not, here's the thing, all right? This is like I'm going to bring in some other external stuff that's like, you know, not real story stuff, but it's like fun to think about or whatever.
Yeah.
On the side, I was learning, just went down some YouTube rabbit hole, started learning some stuff that's like the way psychologists classify like how different people think. So like some people think more like you're actively putting things together, whereas some people think more like moments of clarity, like it's more like background processing, and then you have like some moments of clarity or something suddenly just makes sense to you or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Luffy falls into that category. All right. Luffy does not actively follow like logical trains of trying to be like, okay, this.
To put things together, no.
Yeah. He just has moments where he's like, oh,
yeah,
this makes sense to me now, basically.
Yeah.
He's not dumb, and everything he does that in fighting wise.
So instinctive.
Yeah, it's instinctive. Like in a moment he realizes like, okay, water, crocodile, okay, I can do this or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Or like, oh, Ricochet, NL, I can do this or something.
It's
like,
not necessarily like I guess planning. It's not like a Hunter fucking
like
morale
stuff like that. Yeah.
You know, getting the oxygen or whatever. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I guess I'll end up by saying Future Sight, I don't think it's a conversation that's ever gonna be resolved, because I don't think Oda's ever gonna clarify a lot of this shit.
Okay. Do you want, let me say this real quick. Like, I was not gonna mention it. I always hold this back anytime Future Sight's brought up, but I guess I don't care, right? Maybe it's because I was holding it for a video or something, but like, my honest opinion on Future Sight, and why it's in the series, because I think it was completely unnecessary to add to the series, right? My simple opinion is basically that there is likely some scene that Oda has planned at some point where it will be important that Luffy can see the future. That's not necessarily combat related or something like that, but I do think at some point, I think Oda started with the concept at some point, like, what if you saw something and then you had to do, like, what if you saw something
had to
terrible,
relive it again.
Something terrible happening. And
wow.
So
Straw Hat
me,
death?
Yes. If I'm being perfectly honest, and that's why I didn't want to share it here, but like I don't actually care that much now, but I personally believe that that's something that's like, I think Oda took a concept, worked backwards with it, and then realized he had to, like, it would be, well, what if I used Haki as a route to getting there?
So like a Twilight thing?
Dude, I mean, I think that, I don't know Twilight, but like, I think like...
You've never seen, I forget the last one.
I know what you mean. There's like a whole battle that didn't happen or something like that. But like, imagine the Kuma incident, but Luffy sees it. You know?
Yeah, before, but then he has to relive it again.
Basically. So I think that there's a very powerful scene in there planned somewhere. But I think that leads to a million problems in the combat leading up to it. You know what I mean? And I do think that's characteristic of Oda. Brilliant ideas that maybe leave a bit of a cookie crumb trail of like smaller little question marks leading up to it. But you know, if maybe I'm giving too much credit to be like, oh, that scene's gonna happen or something like that. Right. But like to me, that's my best guess at why Oda would have Luffy learn Future Sight. Because all I'll say this is that when we had the Katakuri battle, nobody was expecting that the answer to Luffy versus Katakuri, how he would beat him, would be to learn Future Sight. That came out of nowhere. Nobody was saying as the battle was starting was like, oh, Luffy's gonna learn this.
He has to learn Future Sight to beat him.
Exactly.
No.
Once Luffy said that, at some point in my mind, I was like, why? This seems so weird and out of character. Like, it just doesn't seem like an ability on Luffy's radar. It makes sense to me if it's a scenario where like Oda has in mind some point like something terrible happening and Luffy seeing a vision and realizing that he has to stop it. It would make a brilliant scene, really powerful, fits Luffy's character perfectly.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The type of emotion you get out of that. So I'm down. So that's the thing. Like, my opinions on Future Sight are skewed because I'm kind of giving Oda some future credit to some really good use of it that I'm just like, I don't care too much about the like, let me see what it comes to down the line, kind of, you know what I mean? And then I'll kind of, I'll ignore the rest if it's a really good scene or something, you know what I mean?
I like that. I mean, I'm a Katakuri fanboy, so I'm always gonna, push the agenda a little bit, but I like that. I actually like that a lot. Okay, now to the stuff at the end of the chapter, where we go to Mary Joa.
I got like a bit. I got like 5, maybe 10, but yeah.
Okay. It says this year's reverie is accursed, right? Mm-hmm. Does that tell us something?
They're teasing it. They're teasing what happened at the reverie, right?
Yes.
But are you saying that like something came out of the reverie that's related to the Zanisha incident, or what are you saying?
Where it's like they're saying it's accursed, meaning did something bad happen in regards to them? Where it's like, well, they're saying it's cursed. Did something happen at the reverie that really like, oh fuck, you know? Where it's like things didn't work out the way they wanted it to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of just took that as like, oh, the Revolutionary Army tried
everything that's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have no idea. Like, well, what? I didn't think about it like that. You got
because because if you're saying it's cursed, but then you captured Sabo and Vivi and all that shit, it's kind of like a blessing in disguise, no? But
yeah, like it's a big win,
right? But if like Sabo got away, took Vivi, you know, something else happened, it's like fuck, like
true.
A lot of shit has gone wrong, you know.
Then I guess that makes more sense, right? So if they're saying it like that, that makes more sense. I don't know why. I just assumed that like, oh, they got disrupted in some way, therefore they're upset.
Therefore, yeah,
it makes more sense that it's the other way.
Okay, all right, let's get to the Wano stuff, right? Because they talk about Wano and talk about another thing, Nico Robin.
Something's happening. Like, what's gonna happen?
It's weird, right? Because they're saying in a battle with Big Mom and Kaido, death could come to anyone, which makes it perfect to cover or eliminate inconveniences. Yeah. Which, are you trying to like now stealthily kill Nico Robin, or they were referring to something like X Drake?
It's got to be Nico Robin, right? Because that's who they're talking about right there.
Right. But why would you like? Why does it matter in this fight? Like, you know, to cover up them killing her.
Yeah.
When she's a wanted person anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so odd.
You don't need to cover that up.
Like, why would you need to cover that up? That's a huge win. Unless you're covering up inconveniences like Who's Who or X Drake. You know what I mean? But they are talking about Nico Robin. We skip past that and then we go to the legend, where Oda, you know, on purpose leaves out dialogue. We come back to it. Seems like somebody said something, and then we have this guy saying, "No, it's impossible. The fruit is only a legend. even to us, it has not awakened for centuries upon centuries. Then Sanji's dad is saying, then why would the world government bother to give that one specific devil fruit another name? And it was like, it's to erase that fruit's name from the annals of history. Thoughts?
Dude, that was a lot. I have no idea. Like, to be honest, no, I mean, I have some ideas, but no original ideas. Does that make sense? Like, I've seen what other people are saying. There's one that but I'm not particularly drawn to one or the other. I am dropping a video soon on Zunisha being Pluton, because I think that there's the most things that line up for that, but I also don't think that's perfect. But it's weird. Like, I think that there's a million things that line up really, really neatly to that it's too interesting not to talk about. Yeah. But then there's some holes. So I'm like, how do these holes get, like, is it something else totally? I'm fine with whatever it is, to be honest, because it's just exciting to see. What do you think? Right.
I think there are a lot of holes in every scenario that I think of, right?
Nothing's perfect.
Nothing is perfect. I think the only thing that could be perfect, but still I'm questioning it is Toki. Because, for instance, with everything happening in Wano right now, it feels like it was all planned and set up. And if off screen someone said, hey, what if like this is just, somebody manipulating time to make all this happen at the same time? It's like, what are you talking about? That's like, that fruit is a legend. It's not awakened for centuries upon centuries. Which goes back to Toki, because she jumped into the future, right? She jumped from the Void Century to, the time with Odin. So then for them, no one has seen the time fruit in a long time. And we know for her destination was Wano. But then it's like, what are they talking about with another name? You know what I mean? Like, how does that tie into it? So again, nothing is perfect. Then we go to Zunisha, where we talk about Momonosuke, and say Zunisha is, an ancient weapon or someone that has a devil fruit. How does that relate to Momonosuke and him controlling it? And then why is it here? The Luffy stuff is weird as well, because it's like, it's so many instances where, that could have been brought up. And then, for Luffy's fruit, does it have adverse effects? Let me ask you something about Sugar's fruit. Not saying it could be Sugar's fruit, but I just think it's super odd. Not odd, but like, it's a really overpowered fruit, and it has just 3 different abilities, right?
Yeah.
Where it erases your existence, turns you into a toy, and it seems to grant eternal youth.
Yeah,
right?
It's an amazing package.
It's crazy. Someone like Blackbeard's fruit, where it's like the nullification, it has the Logia abilities, and it can take away devil fruit abilities. But then it can then it has gravity as well, right?
Yeah.
So with these devil fruits, someone did present the idea that there's another devil fruit type, kind of hybrid devil fruits that have like multiple effects. That the devil fruit that we're talking about, the person that's using it is only using one of the abilities from the fruit, but it has other abilities that they don't know about yet.
Oh, so just broke devil fruits is basically what the discussion is. Like a 4th category of just like the best. Like there's some shit to it. Yeah.
But then they just classified it into paramecia because they don't want to, kind of single out that fruit.
It's just too dangerous. That makes sense.
Too dangerous, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's a lot of theories floating around out there that I think are really interesting. But then I think something that some people kind of skimmed over was the fact that the world government is asking about the world government, right? Where he's like,
wait, what?
The blonde girl say Sanji's dad is like, wait, then why would the world government bother? It was like, wait, that's you.
I missed that line.
Right? It was like, that's you. So this happened before them,
Yeah. Wait, this is interesting. This is interesting.
It's a lot going on here. So it's I'm thinking, well, the previous world government, were they doing this because they were trying to keep it from, these new people from assuming it, or it was just, before the coup? It does beg the question, like, all that shit that happened back then, because for a while we thought the Gurusei, they knew everything.
Yeah.
But now it's like they're not even on the same page here, because one doesn't believe it, and one is like, wait, what about that? And the other isn't really saying anything.
Yeah. Dude, that's I don't know. The can of worms that this one opened up, I'm glad that it doesn't feel like, I think that it does feel, how do I say this? I gotta say this and then I guess basically leave, unfortunately. Okay. But I'll send you the audio right after. So
no problem.
With this, right, I'm glad that it feels like certain things are tying back together.
Yeah.
Because definitely some people were starting to wonder, like, okay, now the Gum Fruit is special, now Joy Boy, but also Sun God Nika, like, but with Zunisha, this was something Oda planted back in, like, chapter 800, right?
Yes.
And the questions he raised about it were raised at that point in time, right?
Yes.
So this is not random or anything like that Zunisha's coming back this arc. This makes sense, right? Like, this is the arc, like, Momonosuke is tied to Zunisha.
Absolutely.
It should be coming back here. And we should, like, all of the little drips of information we've been getting, right? Like, it does feel like we're going to get some answers or at least some bigger questions related to all of them, like, pretty soon. So, like, dude, I don't know. Like, I think a lot of this probably comes back to the importance of Wano that we still haven't fully understood. So, like, the lore explanations that we're going to get by the climax of this arc are just going to be,
it's going to be insane.
Something else.
For some reason, it feels like Zunisha, this was always the destination all along.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. I mean, introduced at the start of this plot to, take down, it just fits so well.
Okay.
Yeah.
We reached the end. I know people are like, what the fuck? No, but Morj, I appreciate you joining me so we could talk about this for a bit. Again, this chapter had a lot of tentacles to this, right? Because there's so much going on with the dialogue. But again, I appreciate you pulling up. Guys, you know where to find Morj, link in description. Any last words?
No. Go subscribe to my channel and subscribe to this channel. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yo, like, subscribe. We catch y'all in the next one.
Yeah.
Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.